So friends, the iPhone 18 leaks are not trickling in anymore. They are flooding in. And one of them involves 630 gigabytes of internal Apple documents leaked from a supplier. That is not a rumor, that is a breach. In the last few weeks, leakers and Apple's own regulatory filings have confirmed battery numbers, chip specs, camera hardware, and now real price hikes across 6 different iPhones at once. So friends, this video is doing leak by leak, smartphone by smartphone. The iPhone 18 Pro Max at first, then the iPhone 18 Pro, then the standard iPhone 18, then the iPhone 18 Air 2, then the iPhone 18e, and finally the iPhone Fold. Once every leak is on the table, we will get into the real question. Should you actually buy one of the iPhone 18 series? Is this the best iPhone lineup Apple has ever made? And if you already own a smartphone from the iPhone 15 series, iPhone 16 series, or the iPhone 17 series, is this even your ear to upgrade? Well, let's start the leak from the flagship smartphone itself, the iPhone 18 Pro Max. It has the most leaks and the most confirmed ones. So let's start with the battery. Chinese regulatory certification filings, the same database that correctly predicted the iPhone 17 Pro's capacity last year, put the 18 Pro Max at 5,391 to 5,567 mAh battery, depending on the region. This is close to a 10% jump over the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And it comes from government filling, not just a rumor. Then the most awaited change and my favorite, the cameras. A variable aperture main lens paired with the Sony IMX905 sensor. The freshest leak suggests this lens on the Pro Max at first, ahead of a smaller Pro. Then the A20 Pro chipset. It's built on TSMC 2nm N2 process, with early numbers suggesting roughly 15% faster CPU performance and 30% better power efficiency over the Apple A19 Pro, which I've reviewed and you can watch the video right here. Now, the modem. US units are expected to keep Qualcomm's hardware for mmWave 5G, while the international units move to Apple's own C2 modem, according to leaked manufacturing documents from supplier Tata Electronics. Now, design. A smaller dynamic island, as Apple reportedly moves Face ID flood illuminator under the display. Friends, it shrinks but it does not disappear. Now the price. And friends, this is the newest leak and the least settled one. Mac Rumors reports component cost alone could rise close to $300 due to the new chip and pricier memory. And multiple outlets now expected a $200, $300 price hike. One Weibo source, Smart Pikachu, claims a starting price near 11,000 yuan in China, which converts roughly to $1,625, a nearly $400 jump. That number is a single source, so treat it as the loudest claim and not the most confirmed one. Now friends, the iPhone 18 Pro. Same generation, noticeably smaller leaks. Let's start with the battery. The same regulatory fillings put the iPhone 18 Pro at roughly 4,050 to 4,300 mAh battery depending on the region, which is under 1% gain over the last year iPhone 17 Pro. This is basically a flat year for the battery of the iPhone 18 Pro. Then the camera. But this is an open question, with the fresher leaks pointing the variable aperture landing on the Pro Max at first. So it is not yet confirmed the smaller Pro gets the same lens this generation. Now chipset and the modem. Identically stored to the Pro Max. Same A20 Pro on N2 and same Qualcomm for US, C2 for international modem split. Now friends, the price. And it is expected to move to the Pro Max in that same price, in that same $200 to $300 range, since Apple has historically kept Pro and Pro Max price hikes in lockstep. Now my favorite one, the iPhone 18. Now friends, keep in mind that this is not the smartphone launching with others. It is being pushed to spring 2027 alongside the iPhone Air 2 and the iPhone 18e. Leaker Digital Chat Station has the display at 6.3 inches, matching the iPhone 17's display size, but a sharper 1.5K panel and what will be the standard iPhone first air rail shot at the 120Hz LTPO screen. But friends, that detail is still contested. Some reports say it is not fully locked in yet. Now the chip. The standard Apple A20, not the Pro version, with early chatter around 9GB of RAM. Now the price. This one is the bright spot in the whole price story. IDC analyst Nabila Popal has predicted Apple will consider price hike on the Pro tier first and hold the standard model price steady until spring, which is kind of expected though. Now the iPhone 18 Air 2. This is the second generation iPhone Air but it will also be released in spring 2027. Display grows slightly to 6.55 inches with 1.5K resolution and 120Hz LTPO and a small step up from the original Air. Friends, the camera is the real fight. One leak claims Apple found room for a second 48 megapixel ultra-wide lens inside the Air's horizontal camera bar, fixing the original Air's biggest complaint. But Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has specifically said the Air 2 will not get a second camera. Two incredible sources, two opposite answers. So this is not settled, or it will be. Who knows? Now the price. The original iPhone Air was launched at $999. Nothing in current leaks suggests a major jump for the second generation, though that could shift once component costs are finalized. Now friends, the iPhone 18e, the little one. Now this is the Apple budget's model, also landing in spring 2027. And the leak here is less about feature and more about a decision Apple is choosing to make. Display grows just 0.02 inches to 6.12 inches, and it stays on 60Hz LTPS panel, while even budget Android smartphones have shipped 120Hz OLED screen for years. That gap is not new, but the leaks confirm Apple is not closing it in 2027 either. And price, based on the current 17e starting near $599, expect the 18e to land close to that same range. Now the iPhone Fold, and some may call it the iPhone 18 Ultra, the one genuinely new product in this entire Apple 18 series lineup. And this smartphone is also expected with the Pro Max in September. First up, its design. A book-style fold with roughly 7.8 inches annual display, with Samsung supplying the foldable panel. So we know that the displays will be ethereal. Now the price is where this leak gets interesting, because three separate named analysts landed in the same range without referencing each other. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says it will cross the $2,000 threshold. Ming Chi Kuo expects no lower than $2,000, possibly above $2,500. JP Morgan Samik Chatterjee has gone specific at $1,999. When three independent sources coverage like that, it is usually the leak worth trusting the most in the entire video. Now the biggest question, should you buy the iPhone 18 series like the iPhone 18 Pro Max, iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18, iPhone 18e, iPhone 18 Air 2, to be called the second generation iPhone Air, and the iPhone 18 Fold? Now that every leak is on the table, but here's the actual decision. The case for buying, a real battery jump backed by regulatory filings, not rumors. A camera lens type Apple has never shipped before. A more efficient chip built for on-device artificial intelligence. That is a stronger combined leak sheet than the iPhone 17 Pro Max got a year ago. But the case against, you are very likely paying $200 to $300 more for it on a smartphone whose camera lead over its predecessor still has not been tested in the real world. A confirmed battery leak is not the same as a confirmed camera win. So should you care? Well, if your current smartphone struggles with battery by the evening, this is the most justified upgrade leak of this year. And if battery is not your problem, wait for the real camera samples before paying the higher price. Now, should you buy the iPhone 18 standard? This one is triggered because it's delayed until spring 2027. The case for buying, you got a 120Hz LTPO screen on a non-Pro iPhone for the first time ever. So, if you are on the iPhone 14 or older, this is a massive leap forward in display and performance. The case against, the spring launch means you will be waiting almost a full year after the Pro models drop. And if the 120Hz screen does not get confirmed, you are just buying a slightly bigger iPhone 17 with a newer chip. So should you care? If you are on Apple iPhone 15 or 16, then wait. The spring launch gives you the time to compare this against discounted 17 Pro models. If you are on iPhone 14 or older, mark your calendar for spring 2027. This is your time to upgrade. Now, should you buy the iPhone 18 Air? The Air is for a specific person. The case for buying, you value thinness and weight above everything else. If the second camera actually lands, this becomes a genuinely well-rounded smartphone and an impossible slim body. The case against, the camera situation is not settled. If Gurman is right and it's stick with one lens, you are paying $999 for a smartphone that takes worse photos than a $799 standard iPhone. And the spring launch means the Pro Max has been out for 6 months already. So should you care? Well, only if your thinness is your absolute priority. For everyone else, the standard 18 or the 18 Pro is still better buy for similar money. Now, should you buy the iPhone 18e? Well, this is clearly the Apple's cheapest smartphone and it has a clear job. Now, the case for buying, your budget is strictly around $600 and you just want an iPhone that works, lasts all day, and get software updates for 5 years. The iPhone 18e will do exactly that. Now the case against a 60Hz screen in 2027 is genuinely hard to defend. Budget Android smartphones have had 120Hz OLED for years. So you are paying Apple's tax for the ecosystem, not for the hardware. Now should you care? Well, if you're buying this smartphone for a child, a parent, or as a work phone, then this is pretty fine. But if you are buying for yourself and you care about the screen at all, then spend extra $200 on the standard 18. Now, should you buy the iPhone Fold? Now friends, this is a different decision entirely, as it is not an upgrade. It is a category shift. The case for buying, you want Apple's first foldable, and you are willing to pay early adopter tax. The convergence of 3 independent analysts on $1,999 to $2,500 range gives this price leak more credibility than almost everything else in this video. If you have been waiting for Apple to enter the foldable market, this is the year. Now the case against, it is Apple's first foldable. First generation hardware always has kinks. Display creases, hinge durability, software optimization that take a year to mature. And at $2,000 plus, you are paying a premium for the privilege of being first. So if you want the foldable, wait for the second generation. If you want iPhone, buy the Pro Max. So, if you strip away the price story for a second, the hardware case here is genuinely strong. This is the first Apple lineup with the real foldable. It is the first meaningful main camera hardware changes in years, not just software processing. It is the biggest single generation battery jump the Pro Max has seen in recent memory, and it is built on one of the most efficient chip node Apple has ever used. Layer that on top of a 17 Pro Max that reviewers already called the best camera smartphone Apple has ever shipped, then the 18 series is not trying to beat the competition. It is trying to beat Apple's own best smartphone yet, and that is genuinely a rare position for this company to be in. So should you care? If you have never owned a foldable or a variable aperture camera, this is the first year Apple gives you both. That is worth paying attention to, even if it is not worth buying blind. Now, here is every number from this video side by side. The iPhone 18 Pro and the Pro Max. Most estimates say $200 to $300 more than the 17 series, with one single source claim suggesting closer to $400. iPhone 18 and 18e expect to hold steady until spring. For IDC Nabila Popal, iPhone 18 Air, no major hike currently rumored. iPhone Fold, $1,999 to $2,500 plus, according to 3 converging analysts. So the pattern across almost every leak is the same. Apple is protecting its cheapest smartphones from the price hike and putting nearly all of it on the Pro tier and the Fold. So if you are on the iPhone 15 or iPhone 16 series, this is not the best time to upgrade. Don't get me wrong here. The 18 series is a real progress, but you're about to pay a higher price for it than anyone before you did. And the standard and Air models in your price range are not even launching until spring 2027. So you lose nothing by waiting to see the finished product. Now, if you are on the 17 series, this is honestly the worst time to upgrade. Your camera is already the best one Apple has ever made. Your chipset is one generation behind, not several. And you would be paying the single biggest price increase in years for upgrades that, on paper, are smaller than the price gap suggests. So sit this one out and let the 18 Pro Max prove itself and the real reviews first. And if you are anything older than 15 series, say a 14 or earlier, then this is your year. The battery, camera and chip upgrades are generation leaps for you. But even then, wait for reviews. Now, here is my honest verdict. 6 smartphones, 6 sets of leaks, and one theme running through every single one of them. The hardware case for the iPhone 18 series is genuinely strong, but the price case is not there yet. Do not buy on leaks alone. Wait for real battery tests, real camera samples, and Apple's actual September pricing before deciding this is your year. So yeah friends, that's all for this video. And tell me in the comment, out of all of 6 leaks in this video, which one actually changes your mind? The battery, the camera, or the $2,000 plus Fold? So my name is Hamza, this is Tech, and I'll catch you in the next one.